Now, before you start jumping to conclusions, I should point out that I'm talking about that old-time religion. You see, back about the time things were starting to get really interesting around Bethlehem, there were in the same country soldiers abiding in Jerusalem. Now, and as was the custom among Roman soldiers of that era, they were getting ready late December to celebrate one of the few aspects of the worship of Mithras that we know anything about. This is the Feast of Sol Invictus. Now, this Feast of the Unconquerable Sun made note of the fact that the sun, which had been appearing for less and less time, minutes less every day for the past few months, is finally starting to fight back and is starting to regain those minutes of lost daylight. Now, this made, for the Roman soldiers, made Mithras a symbol of courage and strength and victory, and as you can imagine, that would be very popular among Roman soldiers. But now, kind of a coincidence, isn't it, that the Romans were worshiping the birth or rebirth of their god in late December, but that's actually beside the point I'm trying to make. Now, the Greeks, to go back just a little bit further, get a little bit older time religion, the Greeks had, among others, worshipped Dionysus. Now, Dionysus was known nowadays mainly as a god of wine, but there's much more to him than that. See, his mother gave birth to him, and never having been with a man. Zeus not being counted as a mortal man, you see. And when he was born, a jealous ruler, in this case Hera, the queen of the gods, decided that this was not a good person to have around and tried to put him to death, and very nearly succeeded. But Zeus gathered up the infant and placed the infant in his own body until it could regenerate, and gave birth to him a second time. In fact, one of the names of Dionysus could be translated as born again. Now, after this miraculous rescue, Dionysus went off to northern Africa, where he lived for many years and came back when he was considered able to take care of himself. And when he got back to his own country, he gathered up some followers and was known as a god of truth. And for some, especially the Greek women, he was worshipped as a god of freedom from those who would deny or suppress their own strength. Now, about the same time, the Norse and other Germanic peoples worshipped Odin. Odin was a god who was said to raise up the spirits of his dead followers and put them in his army to fight against evil. In fact, this would all culminate in one final battle pitting Odin and the spirits of his followers against the souls that had been consigned to hell. The hell in this case being spelled with one L and referring to the goddess of the underworld. Odin was an all-seeing god, noted for his wisdom and for his willingness to provide protection for his followers through his own self-sacrifice. Now, going earlier yet, the Chinese, they worshipped, among others, Hote. Now, Hote was the god of joy and of generosity and of love for all mankind. Hote taught that the truest way to find happiness was in forgiving your fellow man, and by eliminating your enemies by making friends of them. Now, The very name Hotei means cloth sack. And if you see a picture or a representation of Hotei, you'll see him as this always smiling, very jolly fat man who had a cloth sack from which he dispensed sweets and other goodies to the children that he met. Almost sounds familiar, doesn't it? But people have been worshiping aspects of what they saw as divine back as far as human history goes, or even further. The Egyptians worshiped Isis, or if you prefer to call her Iset, to avoid confusion with the modern Islamic State. That was another name for her. Well, she was the Queen of Heaven, both in her own right and through her marriage to her brother Ra. Egyptian marriage laws obviously being a little bit different from what we have today. And when Ra was apparently destroyed by evil, in this case the person of his half-brother Set, it was Isis who gathered up the various pieces of Ra, placed them within the earth for a period, and then miraculously brought him back to life. Now, right about now, you're probably wondering, where am I going with all of this? am I trying to say that all these, am I holding up these beliefs of the past to ridicule and say, oh, look what crazy people our ancestors were? No, I'm not saying that. In fact, I'm saying that they were right to worship whatever symbols they could find of strength, of love, forgiveness, all of these aspects, and to call them divine. They were right. These truly are worthy of worship. Well, then am I saying that modern Christianity is wrong, that Jesus was a fake, and that all the things that are ascribed to him were simply borrowed from other religions? No, I'm not saying that. I honestly believe that the historical Jesus, or Yeshua bar Yosef, as he would have been known in his own day and time, was divine. That Jesus was the Son of God. Well, then who's right? In Unity we preach that they all were. That the Egyptians with their worship of Isis, the Chinese with Hotei, the Norse with Odin, the Greeks with Dionysus, the Romans with Mithras, and the modern Christians and Jews and Muslims and Hindus, they are all right. That they were all worshiping the one true God. That there is only one God to worship. In fact, anything that you can name, any cloud, any tree, any piece of dirt on the ground, any star in the sky or planet, the air we breathe, or love, or courage, or strength, they are all God. They say that there is only God. God is, and God is all that there is. And that means that, well, science says that, Carl Sagan is quoted as saying that we are all made of star stuff. Unity goes one better. That even the stars are made of God stuff. That means that you are God. And you are God. And anyone you see, and anything you can touch or see or imagine is God. Now, isn't that a wonderful thing when you think about it? Yeah. If you have some habit that you are fighting against, that you don't have to go out and find a bull and slit its throat and offer it as sacrifice to Mithras. Now, all you really need to do is search inside yourself. Find that part of you that is God. Say, this habit that I have, it seemed to give me what I wanted back when I started it, but it doesn't serve me anymore. Well, I'd like to be rid of this. Give it to that God that is inside you. Let go of it, and then be thankful that not only will God take care of it, God has already taken care of it. It is already accomplished. If you find yourself enslaved by a web of false perceptions and half-truths, you don't need to beg and plead for Dionysus to come down from Olympus and break the chains that are wrapped around you. All you need to do is get in touch. Connect with that God that is already there, all around you and inside you. Speak your own truth and be free. If you need the wisdom of an older to handle some problem, if you need the forgiveness of Hote to find your own happiness, if you need the power of Isis to resurrect the shattered remnants of your own dreams, you don't need to look anywhere but right inside yourself to get calm, to feel the connection with the whole universe, to feel the love. And when you think about it, that means you can't have any hate at all. Because in order to hate, you can't hate what you are. In order to hate, you have to be something other. I hate them, but I can't hate us, because it's me. And when you realize that there is only us, there is only the one thing anywhere, and that is God, and that we are part of the same whole, and realize that you and I are just as much God as Jesus or Gandhi or Kennedy or Adolf Hitler or Joseph Stalin or Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King. We are all God. And if any of us seems any more divine than any of the rest of us, it's only because they have gotten more in touch with that oneness of spirit, that oneness within themselves, that sees that we are all the one being, and they express that unity, that divinity, a little bit more than maybe some of the rest of us do. But it's within every one of us to be that. And all you have to do is get in touch. If you need anything, all you have to do is get in touch with that part of you that is one with everything. And claim it for your own. And the only sacrifice you have to make, if sacrifice is the right word for it at all, is the idea that you can't have it. That there's not enough of it to go around. That somehow you don't deserve it. It's there in all of us. It's all there for the taking. The Father has seen fit to give you the keys of the kingdom. All you have to do is reach out, take it, and say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And that's why Unity says no matter who you are, no matter what you've done in the past, no matter what path you took to get here, your path led you here for right now. You're here among us today, and so we welcome you because you're already one of us, whether you knew it before or not. You are of us, and we welcome you. Now, I want to thank you for your kind attention. I know I haven't spoken for very long. As always, I get on a roll and I just rattle it all off. But I do thank you for your attention. Any of you who haven't fallen asleep already. Oh. And I want to leave you with the greeting that you'll hear quite a lot in Unity. The God in me recognizes the God in you. Promise. Yes.